Well, good evening and Sláinte, and welcome to anyone who cares to join us. Me specifically, but Matthew very much so. No doubt you'll draw a crowd by yourself that people want to come and see your beautiful young face, and they don't really care very much for this rough scruffian. Although I think I'm doing well, Matthew. I actually clean shaved the other day for Beardy Dave. When he shaved his entire thing off, I went, do you know, I'm going to shave my beard off and we'll see who gets, the beard back quicker. I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I mean that's some good going for
Right.
a short while. Yeah,
just a couple of days. I'm turning into a bit of a monster. And listen, I just want to say a couple of really quick things to start with. I want to thank everyone who actually phoned me or messaged me last week when I actually cancelled my show last Wednesday night. And it was the most awkward thing to do. I was happy enough. I was just going to go ahead with the show. And unfortunately, it's a really random story, but everyone must have thought I was not maybe not well or something really bad had happened. No. I'm trying to get my kitchen sorted. And it was the only time I could ever get the guy around, the builder around to have a look at it, and he's just spent a little bit longer than I thought he was going to spend. Yeah, well, I just couldn't do the live show because that was way more important. But thank you very much for the phone calls from around the world, literally from different countries, wishing me, hoping I'm okay. And, I was really, really thankful that people give a shit. So, yeah, really nice of them. So, look, we're here tonight. And look, we've got lots of people, obviously, who are, I'll just click them in. You know the score, Matthew. You know how this wee machine works.
I understand, yeah.
In. So, well, William, excellent. Good to see you. Connor also. Alan, thank you very much for coming in. I look recognisable again. You're exactly. I don't look like, Matthew, who has this beautiful cat's licky's face and it's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Even Robert. You know what as well, Matthew, I don't know if it's the same all over when we're doing these talks, but that Facebook Live subtitling that comes on is just absolutely brilliant. So I've watched a couple back, and some of the stuff we've said, or I've said, is just really random, like cat piss. Like I don't even know what that was, but it was there. I didn't say it. So there you go. There's a couple of there you go. The scruff is looking good. I know. Listen, Dave, I want to see yours. I want to see it. I know Matthew is just here for the banter now. He doesn't need to. There's no panic. There is no panic.
I don't have to click any of the comments. It's great.
Look, we'll leave the comments as is. Matt Healy's here representing Boann. Very, very important. Matt is the Boann representative this evening. He has a beautiful little display there that he made, and I think it looks great. 3 in the bottom, I actually have in front of me. So we have some Calvados, we have some Stout, we have some Oloroso finished whiskies in front of me. But I don't have the top 3. But look, I'm very excited to have Matthew on tonight. And it's Sláinte series is about saying thank you. Thank you to Boann for being involved in the festival before. Really do appreciate that. And obviously the commitment to be involved this year as well. And we have some exclusive information to talk about tonight. And it's better coming from you, Matthew, than it is from me. I haven't mentioned it yet. So I think that it's lovely that you have the opportunity to do that. But yeah, look, it's a moment, 45 minutes, work away, half an hour, 45 minutes. You tell us everything about Boann, what the plan is. I'll probably have lots of questions I want to talk about also. But yeah, you can fire away. Tell us what Boann's all about.
Well, I suppose for anyone that doesn't know Boann, it's a single pot still distillery up in Drogheda in County Meath. So the pots are firing at the moment. We're on 24/7 production now. Michael Walsh, head distiller up there, all being founded and operated by the Cooney family, who've been in the drinks business for quite a while. But as I said, we're specializing in single pot still whiskey production and haven't produced anything else other than that. A lot going into the likes of innovation as well. Paul, you would have seen that we worked alongside Fionnán O'Connor to resurrect a lot of old, there you go, old distillery mash bills across the 18 and 1900s. And to be honest, that really taught us a lot about the capability of the kit and what it's like to distill grains like wheat, oats, and rye. And now at the distillery, we have our current house mash bill, which is 40% malt, 55% barley, 3.75% oats, and 1.25% rye. And that was the New Make Spirit that just won World's Best New Make and Young Spirit at the World Whiskey Awards. So we're very excited about that.
One of the strangest things I've ever seen, Matthew, is a bottle which has won lots of awards and that isn't even whiskey. And, all of a sudden it wasn't for sale either. And, everyone's like, Paul, here, do you know about this? And I'm like, listen, lads, don't think it's in a shop. Don't think you can get it today. It's not. But well done, Boann. Well done.
So the New Make Spirit will be available in the coming, I think, weeks. But it was one of those things that we were in the process of producing, and then won the award definitely unexpectedly, and it very much accelerated the timeline of people wanting to try the New Make Spirit from Boann, which is I mean great, but it definitely caught the production team a little unawares in the bottling facility, not the bottling facility, but the actual glass bottle facilities making the bottles and getting them to Ireland. So, but yeah, we're excited, and obviously the Whistler brand is the brand of Irish whiskies that we have currently. And as I said, as you pointed out nicely behind me, we have three of the 9 of the Whistler range that we have at the moment. Kind of a combination of permanent and seasonal expressions. And I think you're having the Calvados in front of you right now. Is that
I'm
it?
drinking the Calvados right now, 100%. It's super. No, I'm really liking it,
So this is the Calvados. This is batch number 1. I don't know if you can see it there. It's always reversed. It's a little confusing. Just this morning in the office, Peter Cooney, one of the family members and myself, were blending and tasting batch number 2 for both the Calvados and the Imperial Stout. It's definitely a lot of fun, and there are seasonal expressions released once a year. But the Calvados, I mean, is a very interesting whiskey. 35% malt, 65% grain, aged in bourbon, and then 15 months in Calvados casks from Normandy. Nice big 400-liter casks. A lot of that fresh apple, almost like a baked apple pie or something. There's that nice stewed apple, brown sugar, a little bit of malt.
Got that lovely creaminess to it as well. Like you want to pour custard or cream all over it. It really is lovely. Oh, it's nice. A lovely mouthfeel to it. But the apple's 100%. It's definitely baked apple.
And what's cool about batch number 2 is, so what that was kind of a 10-year-old Calvados cask, and they're quite large. So this year we have 5-year-old Calvados casks, as well as 20-year-old Calvados casks, and the 5-year-olds will be very fruity and kind of effervescent and lively, and the 20-year-olds are much deeper apple tones. And we're taking both styles of cask in the blend to kind of balance that deep, green apple, stewed pear notes with the floral and kind of spry flavors in the young casks.
No, there's a quick question, just because I flagged up earlier, but Connor's saying, is the plant real? We'll just get that out the road.
The plant is actually 2 different plants, and they are real. Yeah,
there you go. He doesn't muck about,
and have yet to kill them. This guy is doing okay, not doing amazing, but the 2 behind me are doing great.
Brilliant. And Connor's saying he really likes the Calvados finishes. Yeah, I mean, this is a lovely. It's got that lovely creaminess, lovely feel. I would say, Matthew, that the Whistler 7, the cask strength, and I'll say it time and time again. People I hope get this message. If there's bottles out there and you find them and you see them, just buy them. Buy them and drink them, and be one of the happiest people that you'll know at that point, because they are absolutely delightful. That 7-year-old cask strength was just unbelievable for the age. Let's be honest. Okay, there's other bigger whiskies out there, but we paired that in 2019 at our festival. We paired it with a 32-year-old dream cask, and the friend at hand, 25-year-old, and a couple of other bottles in there, not worth mentioning, maybe a 12-year-old cask strength and a couple of other ones. And that 7-year-old cask strength finished like 0 point something, 0.1, I think, just behind the friend at hand in overall marking. Now that is absolutely brilliant. It stood up against these massive big hitters, very expensive whiskies that people fall over themselves to get. And yet we had a, what was it, 75 quid bottle, £75 cask strength, 7-year-old, single malt, unreal, unbelievable.
Well, I tell you about that because that was discontinued a little while ago. Just by the fact, well, it was by the fact that we couldn't continue on. We didn't have access to the original stock, so we didn't want to release something under the same name and it not be the same whiskey, if that makes sense. But we recently found like 21 cases on the top of our in our bottling facility, literally on the very top rack pallet. There was like 21 cases that we just accidentally found. So they're on the Boann Distillery shop right now. Literally the remaining cases. Wow. Yeah, so they came back about 3 weeks ago, maybe.
So you can still buy. You can buy some just now.
You can buy some just now.
This is if you're listening to this, if you listen to this backwards, if you come across this recording in space, and you have this opportunity to purchase, this is not a word of a lie. If you can purchase the 7-year-old cask strengths, buy them. It's one of the only liquids I would tell someone. Take my word, because genuinely, it's not just my word. There's a lot of people out there. But if I put it into a room, I think there was about 25 people in that room that night. And even just that one attempt where, it's side by side a dream cask, side by side a 25-year-old cask strength, and it outbeats a 12-year-old cask strength redbreast. It outbeats Jack, a specialty Jack Daniels and something else. It is really, really, really good. Is it batch 3? I take it.
No, it would be batch, I think 7. Well, actually, I actually don't know what batch we found, but what it would have been on batch 6.
For just getting it. Just get it. Just buy a case. I might just buy a case. This is weird. I literally go out my road to try and find it. Whenever it's on a wee auction site, I'm the mad person just bidding away. So I have as many as I can, because it's just a very, very good whiskey to drink. And it's just value for money. Well,
this reminds me of being on my own show. We had Brendan Carty on of Cologne fame, and Alan Mulvihill, now of Stillgarden. There you go. There's a Cologne cult. Alan Mulvihill was my co-host, and we were interviewing Brendan. And Brendan said that something was online on the shop, and Brendan just kind of signed off in the middle of the interview and just went on to his phone.
Sometimes that happens, man.
And he just, in the middle of interviewing, just broke down and was like, "I'll be back in a moment." Ordered 6 bottles for himself and then came back into the conversation.
Matt, it actually happens quite a lot. We had a tasting one night and someone said, "Oh, do you know such and such has just come online?" And everyone in the room just stopped talking, got out their phone and went, "We'll take that, thank you." And all of a sudden, we'd taken the supply out of that website. It's funny how that happens, but I think for me, there's just no bullshitting. You went big last year at the festival. You guys had a big box, lots of liquid in it. You presented very well. Lots of, your boxes sold out. Just like every session last year sold out of their complimentary, of their tickets, whatever it was that we had. That's what happened. But it was really nice to see Boann going to full hog, going for the 9 samples. A lot of people got a lot from that, I think. There was a lot of conversation about it. There's been a lot of conversation, and I witnessed it, over the last 6-7 months. Boann's been talked about a lot due to the fact that you have such a large range of whiskey available. There is a lot to choose from. There is choice there, Matthew. I know that you don't have a choice of different types of whiskey specific, but different flavors and different different types of I suppose for palates, a different type for every day, really. I mean, you have one. In fact, you've got more than one every day, really. When you look at the range.
That's true. Yeah,
it is good. It is good to see. And listen, I'm going to move on because I like the Calvados, but I'm going to move on to the stout just now. Is that all right? Because
That's
I tell you
fine.
what, the stout was yeah. This was the second one I think I really got into. Like it was, and again, it's there just now. I know it's behind you, but I have the little tiny wee bottle here. What part do you have to play in picking this? I mean, I take it your nose is in there all the time. Yeah, black bottle. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and
that was a smart move. I like that one.
It was fun. We went through a lot of different iterations in our design process, but thankfully we work with a fantastic design agency that are specific drinks industry designers, and we give. So when I write the design briefs, I kind of give our designer the four corners, and he understands whiskey as well, which is nice. So I can explain. I don't have to explain what a stout finish is or whatever. So. But I told him I wanted to be, as expressive of Imperial Stout as possible. And the initial release was in collaboration with Boann Brewhouse, which is the distillery's sister brewery. And the Imperial Stout, that beer that aged in these casks, was in a black bottle. So he essentially mimicked the bottle for the whiskey bottle. And
there's a lovely chocolate note there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one bottle that is consistently empty in my house because this is my favorite of the range, and it's probably Ireland's only true dry whiskey. It's if you distilled Irish whiskey down to one recipe, this probably wouldn't be in it. There's a little dribble there, delicious. And it is dry, chocolatey, nutty. It's creamy. I'm getting the dribbles out of it here now, and it is one of those things that is absolutely delicious to me. But it's a different flavor profile than what a lot of people out there might be used to. And when we were putting the blend together, this was very much Michael Walsh, our head distiller. This was very much the first blend that he got his hands on, and he wanted to make it. It's not meant to be applicable to every palate. It's meant to taste like stout. And that's what he wanted to do, make something that actually tasted like Imperial Stout. That 7-year-old importer cask is fantastic as well from Glendalough.
I think the 10-year-old from the 10-year-old Glendalough, the porter, the Black Pits.
Yeah.
Well, that was something special. Anyway, look, we're about Boann.
Yeah.
How dare you?
So and I see Kenny talking about batch number 2.
Yes.
Blended batch number 2 this morning. So it's in collaborations with O'Hara's Carlo Brewing Company. So they had 2 different Imperial Stout batches that we aged our casks, are aged in our casks, and it's been maturing away. So that was this morning's work. That was a lot of fun. Working with that, so we're looking forward to batch number 2. Should be coming out in the next couple of months. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then the next iteration, batch number 3, I think is a coffee oatmeal Imperial Stout. So that'll bring its own kind of influences to it as well. So it's a fun project we have with the Imperial Stout. And I don't know when it'll come out, but we also have a very secretive Imperial beer aging away as well. That's not a stout. I can't say too much about it. It'll be kind of an interesting one-off project, but it's a different Imperial, just a different style. But yeah,
Robert, you're gonna have to pretend today's Tuesday. Get on it. And I just noticed where is it? Oh no! Now see me out of stock. Has it gone out of stock already, that cap? See if that Whistler's gone out of stock and you're like telling me I can go and buy it, I'll be absolutely raging.
Well, let's have a look now.
I will be livid.
Well, as I said, you should have just been going straight onto your phone and having a look at it.
I'll be livid.
It'll be, if it's out of stock, it'll just be out of stock. There's a number of cases that just go through at a time. So it'll be back up probably in the next couple of days if it is out of stock. But I can see it in stock in the Irish store. I don't know if it's in stock in the UK store.
I might have to get someone from the south to purchase it for me. Do you know what I mean? We'll have to sort something out. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I saw a comment there. It was from Michael Morris. Where is he? I saw a comment. Michael Morris. Where did it go? He said something about sitting on the fence. I'm definitely not sitting on the fence when I'm like purely going at that product. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, definitely. You know I'm not. The final one I have here, although I'm racing through it, but I'm just going to sip on this one just now. But
That's all right.
The final one I have is the Oloroso. So that's behind you also.
Yeah.
That's a blend, yes.
Yeah. So essentially,
we used that in the festival last year. That went out to as many people as possible, didn't it? Yes.
Yeah. So what this is it's a 35% malt, 65% grain, aged in bourbon for 4 years, and then vatted into Oloroso sherry hogsheads. And the kind of idea behind this is core range. So this is all day, every day. You can always pick up a bottle of this. The idea of this is you kind of elevate and give flavors like a single malt, just not at that price point. So it's we have the double oaked as the nice entry level blend, and this is the elevation. If you want to move up and have something, if it's your old fashioned, which it makes deadly old fashions, but if you want to have that elevation and you don't want to pay the price point, but still want to get the kind of flavor kick you get it from here. Whereas the Imperial Stout and the Calvados are also blends, just seasonal rather than core range. This is the exact same blend that goes into this bottle. So it's just a differentiation of the finishing cask. And then this goes completely off the rails. It was meant to be the exact same blend, 35% malt and 65% grain. And Michael, our distiller, actually went and put in 50% wheat whiskey, 35% malt, and 15% grain, which gives an entirely different flavor profile to it.
I'm just reading these comments now. There's just too many people now telling me that they're buying it. So don't buy it all. Just don't buy. See, so it must be something in the north, because Martin's saying it's out of stock for him in the north, and yet there's Connor buying it in the south, and people buying stuff in Holland.
Well, yeah,
right, Eric, don't show off, son. Don't be showing off that you can purchase it right now, and I'm sitting here just. Anyway, look at. Oh, it's on Irish malts also. There you go. That's good to know, Matthew. Look, here we're flying. I'm excited by that. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the Oloroso. So yeah, Matthew, tell us this exciting news that you have.
Is this about something special?
Hold on. Yeah, there's something special about it. So I could do a wee drum roll or something like that. But look, we were very lucky last year. So look, we were very lucky last year. Brennan Carty from Cologne, when I got working with him, like I persuaded him. I said, look, we're having a festival. Festivals mean that you really should have festival bottles. And he was like, yeah, we'd love to do something. Cologne would just love to do something. And once we knew we had a festival bottle, actually it was really interesting. The amount of people who then said to me, oh, I wish I'd known you could have done a festival bottling. I was like, listen, we don't want to be chewing off arms. We don't want to be biting off hands and everything else. We don't want to be running before we could be walking and stuff. And also, it's a very, for us, it was a very expensive project. It wasn't like a very, for the festival, it just wasn't a cheap thing to do. And this year, because because we're still virtual and we're still going to have that massive virtual element, that it was about, there's a lot of distilleries out there who, if they want to be involved, they want to do something, then we should be giving back to them. And we made a conscious choice to ask the distilleries in the north, quite specifically, if they want to come on board and have a festival bottling, then they can do so. They can do that. And we'll allow them to make, the decision as to what they put in there. There's no requirements, no nothing. And they can lease off. And we offered only one distillery in the south, and there's a good reason for that. So I hope that people understand why we did this. Matt hEildhe has been working with Finn O'Connor He's done the vintage projects, you know, these barrels that are coming through, these casks. And our club, and a lot of people who are getting involved, who are coming to the festival, are getting involved in those vintage casks. And there's, you know, that's a lot of respect to what's going on there. And actually, if we'd offered out to every distillery who's involved in the festival, we could end up with 70 odd different, you know, bottlings, and that would just be mental. So allowing a distillery in the south to have a bottle, we've asked Boann nicely to do something. And Matthew, have you done something?
We have done something. So I went into the warehouses to pick something cool, and I think we've come up with something. I'd say strenuous, but it was a lot of fun sampling through the casks. And I wanted to give you something different that was unreleased. And I know some of your flavor preferences as well. I think I understand where you like the ABV to be on the scale as well. So this is a little sample bottle here. We a big rake of them come up from the warehouses. That you see a full little list of information here. And basically, I'm gonna cover the one part that I'm supposed to not say, but it'll make more sense in a second. So this is the quarter cask sample, and you can see written in blue Belfast Whiskey Week, because we had about 30 of these to go through, and this is the one we picked. So it's cask 1082. It is a peated quarter cask from a Scottish distillery that rhymes with De Froig. It's cask strength, so it's 59.65 right now. It's still got a couple of months before we bottle it. So it'd probably be around, it's 55.75 there. So it'd probably be around, you know, the 0.9 mark or something when we're done. And it is a blended malt, which is going to be the first, blended malt, and it'll be the first cask strength, single cask release from the Whistler as well, which would be quite cool.
Unbelievable. And do you know what? I've been lucky enough to see the labeling, and here I have been, I've just been impressed. I've just been blown away. So, look, it's biggest thing about these bottles, wherever they're coming from. So, you know, this is the first bottle that we've announced. So we haven't announced the other distilleries and their other bottles. So this is the first one we've announced, and you know, they're coming directly from you. So you're going to put them out. You know, it's not being sold by the Whiskey Week. It's not being sold by us. So it's going to be sold by the distillery themselves. And yeah, I just think it's absolutely brilliant. I think it's absolutely fantastic what you've done there. Really looking forward to it. Cask strength whiskey, super. Using you know, Toad, sounding like not Toad, but the other one, brilliant. And yeah, I think, you know, it's going to be lovely to see. And I think that if people have the opportunity, if they buy the bottles to drink, I think that's very important. I think, you know, I'm looking forward to a lot of people getting involved, having them just like they would at any other festival. You know, I think that's one thing that we've been trying to re-emphasize. This is a festival opportunity. There's some tickets that we have going up for sale in the next couple of weeks, which will include all of those bottles together. So we've got a gold pass which goes out for sale soon enough, and that includes the silver pass and the gold pass. Both of them include the full bottles that we have. So we'll make sure that there's bottles within those passes. But look, I think it's great. I really am. I'm impressed that you turned it around quickly. You know, that you wanted to get involved so badly. I really do appreciate that. And there's a lot of love, I think, for the Whistler set, you know, for the series. I think there's a lot of people who love that already. I think that'll create its own little kind of, people will want that. But I think other people who will want that bottle, and maybe some of the other distilleries, their bottlings as well for this summer. It'll be nice to see. And also, it's in time for the festival. So, you know, we'll be able to get it out to people even before it starts. We're also going to put together, for those who maybe miss out and who maybe want to keep their bottle for a little while longer but want to taste what's inside it, we'll do some tasting sets as well. You know, we'll make sure that people can taste the product as well. You know what I mean? So very excited, Matthew. Really am excited.
Yeah.
And it's a first. It really is a first. First for a southern distillery to get involved like this, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. Lots of people in here, obviously talking about it already. Obviously it should be priority. Without doubt, fatted malt again. That's a very interesting. That's a complex thing as it is. I to name drop another independent bottler, not distillery, but independent bottler, Douglas Lane. Massive fan of their Timorous Beastie range. Like a massive fan. I just love stuff like that. But that's just single malts blended together. There's no need for the grain in there. It's just massive. Big flavors, big chunky flavors. So
well, for me, it'll be a special one. Like you said, it's first, but for the brand, it's the first single cask we'll ever have. So I'm delighted that it'll be going out to you guys. And this one for me is special as well, because just from personal note, because back in, what was this, August, I blended these whiskeys, I put them into the cask, and now I've been able to choose them myself as well. So they've been whistling away down in the warehouses in Clonmel at the moment, and then
love it.
They'll be bottled there. And I saw one person asking whether or not they'll be able to be shipped to EU.
Yeah, Robert was asking the question there. Yeah.
And they will, as long as they meet your requirements for purchasing the bottle, because we'll have them on a hidden platform that only Belfast Whiskey Week subscribers will be able to access.
Yeah, I mean, so the people who are purchasing bottles this year for the festival, it's going to be on our platform. Our platform has been built, so it's secure. So everyone comes into the platform. They're involved as participants, festival goers, and they're the only ones that will ever get the chance to purchase these bottles, because the links will be embedded into those sites. And yeah, look, I mean, I think that there's other ways and means, Robert. I know that people who live here, who are happy to help you potentially purchase. I'm sure you can twist people's arms. You're a very lovable guy. There's no doubt, Robert, that people would do as much as they can to help you.
And just on a side note, that there, we will have a product out later this year that will be a peated cask blended malt, but it won't be at cask strength, and it certainly won't be single cask. But we'll probably have that included in the packs, Paul, with you guys, so people can at least get a flavor for what it might taste like.
Yeah, that's good.
But then obviously this is a step up in a number of different directions.
That's an interesting question from Connor. It 100% does. You don't need to worry about purchasing silver or gold. You will get access to purchasing the bottles. The silver or gold one specifically will have them in the pass. So we'll be purchasing them through the distilleries to ensure that they're there in those passes, available to people. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Oh, that's lovely. Flower for Christmas. That's lovely. That's all I really wanted, Robert, was a flower for Christmas. Look, I'm proper excited about that. I'm also, Matthew, I'm just excited about the whole festival itself. I've had so many conversations the last couple of days. I'm about to go into a series of conversations this week with lots of different people, who really want to be involved in the festival itself, which is really nice. That I am pleasantly surprised, but I'm really overwhelmed by people who are really taken by what we're doing here. I think the more that people have now, I'm able to explain the platforms. We've agreed our platform and what we're going to be using, and just how it works for both the brand, the distilleries, and how it works for the participants. And it's fully interactive, and it just gives people a sense of community. I think one thing that we had last year, was really good. The interaction was spot on. But I think everyone, if you're at a festival, you want to meet people and mingle and get to know people. Something we didn't have last year was a lot of that, because it was a lot of maybe what we have just now, which is scrolling through conversation and text. This time you'll be able to click on Matt HEildhe's personal blog and click into all the things that he's doing specifically. Follow him on all these different social media handles that everyone has these days. You can do all of that. You can send messages directly to the distilleries and the brands. You can go and purchase through their own websites, through their own links. You can do all of that as participants. And then there's the whole communication aspect, through the actual tastings themselves. But yeah, look, I'm very, very pleased for that. I'm just pleased that you want to be involved. There's great things coming from Boann, and I do mean that. Like, I do have a vested interest, and I'll be honest, the cast program that you are working with, Finon, is very important, and people need to get this in their head. This is how important this is. Finon O'Connor is a man on a mission. Yeah, he's that PhD has dragged him all around the country, all around the world in some respects. His research has really made it. It's taken a lot from him. And for a distillery like yourself, new distillery, young up and coming distillery. I mean, I remember when you poured all your own spirits into individual casks. It wasn't just you went for, I'm going to fill 100 bourbon casks today. I'm not doing that. No. I'll fill a Madeira cask and an Oloroso cask and a PX cask and random casks as your first kind of pours. I thought that was really quite nice and innovative. I thought it was pretty cool. But you guys have given him the keys to the distillery. Really, you've given him the opportunity to come in and be very experimental, and we could potentially see. And I don't know the numbers, and no one will ever tell me, which really is frustrating me. But I just don't know how many mashes will go through. But maybe there's going to be 10-ish potentially. And I think that's just unreal. For people to get this is historic. It's an historic moment. This will not be replicated, and can't really be replicated unless an distillery is going to go out their way to allow downtime and all these different mash bills to go through their stills. I think it's one to watch. And I know there's guys out there who are purchasing the barrels. There's a lot of people who are purchasing them maybe to utilise in blends later on. I've heard that one already. I think that's going to be great. Could you imagine some of those vintage mash bills going into blends elsewhere? I think that'd be class. Some are going to get released to the public. Some are going to be kept in private collection. I just think it's one of those things that Boann will be remembered for. That's quite historic. I think it'll be something that years to come, 10 years time, 20 years time, people are like, here, those guys did something very unique. It's super unique. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I'm very excited for it. I really am. I'm looking forward to it. And I guess we're just watching. And we've watched the debacle as well, Matthew. Remember we had that debacle where we weren't too sure whether who was paying for the water. Who wanted to foot the bill. For your water supply, wasn't it? Like one side of the county and the other side of the county. What was going on there?
That was a big hold up.
Yeah, you've had a hold up, and you've had those and you've come through it. Do you know what I mean? You've got such a beautiful distillery to look at as well. It's a very pretty distillery. I know from the outside it's just beautiful glass front, and then when you go inside, it's like a TARDIS, because from the outside I do not know where all that space comes from. Because you go inside and it is massive.
Yeah, just
huge. It's like basement after basement after. It's like you could go down 3 or 4 levels. That's what you feel like. You feel like you're going into the cauldrons. You feel like you're going right down to the center of the earth at one point. And it's very welcoming. And I hope to God you get the chance to have more visitors down and people start coming through those doors down there, because it's going to be a great tourist spot. Now, and we're talking about all the distilleries we have in the north, but you come out of Dublin, you're on your way to Belfast, or vice versa, Belfast to Dublin. It is an ideal location, just off that motorway, for tours continuously in and out, in and out, in and out. It's must be so quick for them to come in and off that motorway, So, no, proper excited for it. Matthew, I'm wondering if there's any random questions that people are giving you. Let's have a look.
I see Brendan mentioning I drove Finon to work every day for 2 months. Don't know about driving him home drunk, but I definitely drove him home again. But if you ever want to hear Finon get passionate about something other than whiskey, you should ask him about the origins of the name Fiona, because it's apparently completely made up. And he's very impassioned by the fact that it is not the female version of Fionn, and he hates that. Right. The Fionnuala is the female version of Finon, and Fiona was made up by a Scottish poet who pretended to know Scots Gaelic, and I think it was like President Johnson. He said it was something to do with he found these 1,000-year-old texts, Scots Gaelic texts, and he translated them, and he made these like massively fantastic stories that are famous all over the world in the 1800s. And the name Fiona became massively popular in Germany and then the United States. And I think it was like Lyndon B. Johnson or something was learning Scots Gaelic so he could go to Scotland and read the original texts. And your man made the whole thing up, and he used to just go and get Irish folklore and Scotch folklore and mash up names and words and come up with new things. So anyways,
and he's really passionate about that, is he? Wow.
He's very passionate on the fact that he hates the name Fiona.
Oh, God love him.
And it was great. That was the most obscure rant that he went on with me, and it was absolutely fantastic.
I'll be honest, I always thought the name Fiona came from Saint Fiona. If there was a Saint Fiona, I assumed it was a saint.
You know what? Maybe it was the Saint Fiona after the name was made up.
Really?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Could you imagine that would be bad? Like, but here, sure, all names are made up in some way.
I was going to say, but yeah,
it doesn't need to get too upset by it.
Are there any whiskey questions rather than Fiona?
Idea, I have no idea. There, well, here, Connor Winders, spot on. Yep, he wants to go around. And here, Connor, your app's doing really well. So I note your app is doing rightly. Well done. So if everyone has downloaded your app, I think it's now on Google, on the
Play Store.
Yeah, it's on everything now, isn't it? You can just get it from everywhere. So well done. Good lad. Top stuff. Amazing story from Tipperary mineral water to fantastic whiskies. There you go. Peter Galbraith is picking up your back story, your backwater story, as it were.
Yeah, of the Cooney family, not mine. I wasn't of the Tipperary water, but the Cooneys invented and commercialized Tipperary mineral water.
I would love to have a spring up my back garden. I'd definitely be bottling water and giving it around the world.
Well, actually, the Tipperary, the deep water well, the aquifer is still in our bottling facility. A different bottling company uses it now, but we use it to do a lot of different things in the bottling facility. So,
just last one for me then, really.
Yeah.
This year's festival, yes, we have the bottle, which is in itself a godsend, and for everyone who comes on board will no doubt be wanting some. But we want you up here, Matthew. Yeah. So we want you or whoever it is from Boann that's going to come and do it to come to Belfast. Remember, we might not have big crowds, but we're going to have a lot of people online, and we want you to come up, and we want you to be presenting from Belfast. You know, we've got some beautiful hotels that people can stay in. You know, through the Hastings Group, through our partners, and we want you up here because I think there's a couple of guys up here that like the wee Jamie Cotter. He's gagging for a party, and he says as long as like everyone's like vaccinated, he thinks it's brilliant. He thinks that's it, party time. And I remember when you were up, you came up to our first year, so 2019. You came up and you took part in the Dingle tasting. And your cousin was up as well. Randomly, your cousin knew people, I knew, which was a bit random.
Yeah, my cousin was Belfast, right? Yeah,
it was a wee bit random, that one, and but it was a good night. It was good crack, and we missed Jeff. But where is he? Still in Panama?
He did. He just moved from Panama City. The city life was too much for him, so he now lives on a tropical beach on the coast of Panama.
I am absolutely jealous of that.
Yeah, and he's jealous. selling Irish whiskey to the cruise ships in the Caribbean.
He's an absolute chancer, but he's loving it. But we had some good crack. So I think you got the idea of what I was trying to build. What the festival was about. We want people to come and have fun, explore Belfast. We've got such a vibrant, city, and particularly nightlife. When we're allowed to have one, it is just buzzing. So yeah. So I really listen, Matthew. Thank you very much. Oh, just that was there someone saying something. Well, they're still talking about buying your whiskey. Here, I started something wild. I feel really bad. Michael says to go with you. What's that? You're not needing 2 weeks quarantine. Don't be silly. And it's in. Tell him, Michael, he's been silly. Michael, you've been silly. You'll be all right because it will be grand by then. Everyone in the north will be vaccinated.
It's us.
Not sure about the south.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the free staters you'd be worried about.
I'm not
But
sure.
no,
I'm not
we're
sure.
we're we're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
It's figuring out what whiskey's going to the pack this year, and
excellent.
and it's we've a few different options. There's a lot of whiskeys we can put in there. We're trying to figure out what size, whether the 6 is best, or we go back for the whole hog of the 9, or do people, Michael's in the comments there. You just pulled him up, but he's got his world's best new make, but he's we produce kind of light, medium, and heavy distillate in the distillery, using a kind of a combination of reflux coils and subcoolers and condensers. So Michael's got the exact same distillate split out 3 different ways, and I don't. We're thinking of whether or not that's an interesting tasting as well. So let us know.
I
What.
think there's you know what I mean. There's 3 levels of tasting. So there's going to be 3 levels of tasting. Everyone is kind of understanding this. We've got intermediate and introduction stuff. So it's showing people this is our showing off the very kind of start. These are our entry level products, and then you've got the showcase, and you can start to showcase a lot more product if you have more, and you can really talk about the ins and outs of that, and then you can go for master classes. But I think the good thing, and a lot of people are talking about, brands and distilleries are looking at components and how they create, how they do a walkthrough. Because actually, a lot of people who will be coming to the festival, there's going to be a lot of people who just want to come and enjoy a drink. They're going to, they're just going to get involved. They'll maybe buy some of the induction packs, and they'll just sit there and have a couple. Maybe not go overboard. And then there's going to be people who want to see the journey that that our distilleries are on. And there's a lot of distilleries who are coming within the next couple of years are going to be having their own product on the shelves. And seeing those journeys are really important for a lot of people. It makes people think at this time, well, what do I invest in as well? What do I go and invest in? What's the go-to? There's a lot of distilleries out there, and Boann would be one of them. And I know there's the guys from Hinch. There's a couple of our guys on here tonight. There's a lot of distilleries. Dingle at the moment have them. Lots of distilleries at the moment have cask programs that people can still buy cask from. And I think I'm not one to suggest, and I never have done, never will do, about investing in casks. But oppositely, if you're purchasing a cask for your own use and you're thinking about, what does that distillate taste like? So some of these tasting packs are really nice, and you can see the progress of the distillate. Prime example was Brendan Carty did a kind of tasting of different types of distillates at some points, and people were like, wow, if this is this at this point, what's it going to be like at X, And yeah, you've got lots of scope, you've got lots of, different variants, as we said at the start. It's, it's in your hands, we're not, the festival does not prescript anything specific. We're all for you guys thinking about what you want to provide to the masses,
Well, that's it. I also always want to bring something in that's interesting as well.
There you go. Question from
Yeah.
Stephen. Will it include the new White Dog? Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what we're saying. One of the tastings we're thinking of is the world's best new make 3 ways. So a light version, a medium,
class.
uh,
I
and
think that's a taste in itself. I think that's a small introduction tasting on itself. I think it'd be class. I think that could be really good. You know what I mean? You could go down the route of some of these distilleries which are doing 2 or 3 different tastings at different times throughout the week. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's so long and big. We're at 100 at the moment. Penciled in, we're at 120 events. Now that's not 120 tastings. 120 events. We're roughly about 70 tastings right now, penciled in. So, there's plenty of room. It's just that we've got other things, other events, which are the music, the comedy. We've got one of some debates in there, like we did in the first year. So lots of different things. And Liam, just to finish on this evening, he wants 6 samples of just PX I Love You. I think that's perfectly fine.
Just basically a whole bottle, just in one tasting pack.
That's all he wants. He's just a very greedy young man. So listen, thank you very much, Matthew, and thank you very much everyone who got involved in tonight's first Sláinte, because I'm doing a second Sláinte at 10:30 tonight, and this is to make up for my kitchen panic. So we'll be back on at 10:30 with Peter from Belgrove from Australia, who will be getting up for our tasting at 7:30 his time, 10:30 our time. So 7:30 in the morning. He is up bright and early for us. But listen, Matthew, thank you very much. And Sláinte, thanks for coming on, sir.
Sláinte, Boss. Thank you very much.